Angela Soares, a product marketing manager here at Google Cloud on the data analytics team. Today, you'll hear from Hank Roark, Director of Analytics at Boeing, where he'll share about Boeing's data journey with Google Cloud. Organizations need a modern approach to enterprise data in order to fully realize its value. A data cloud that easily supports a wide range of workloads and offers access to machine learning that everyone can leverage can help data-driven organizations truly transform their business, from better customer experiences to more streamlined decision-making and efficient operations. Organizations choose Google Cloud to build their data cloud for its ability to fuel data-driven transformation like no other solution on the market today. At the core of Google's data cloud is BigQuery. Customers analyze gigabytes to petabytes of data with BigQuery, a fully managed, serverless data platform with built-in machine learning and business intelligence. BigQuery offers organizations the ability to manage, analyze, and operationalize data at any scale. Some of the key features of BigQuery that data teams benefit the most from are the ability to scale, storage, and compute as your data needs change, so you can focus on the data rather than managing infrastructure. Full ANSI SQL for a seamless data analysis experience across your organization. BigQuery's robust security, governance, and reliability controls that help protect your organization's data with encryption by default, all with high availability and durability with a 99% uptime SLA. Now let's hear from Hank to share more about Boeing's data cloud journey. Over to you, Hank.
Thank you, Angela. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here at Google Next to share part of Boeing's data analytics and cloud journey. My job is to make all the teams within Boeing that help to optimize the business and to serve our customers and stakeholders through data, business intelligence, data analytics, and AI as productive and happy as possible. I lead a centralized platform team and Center for Enablement as part of making that goal a reality. And as anyone can imagine, like any significant enterprise, this journey is a multi-team collaboration. So while I get to be the point person today at Google Next, there are lots and lots of teams at Boeing that have been making this a reality. And I'd like to recognize those teams and also make a special call out to all my users that provide valuable feedback along this journey. Thank you. Boeing has a long history of using data analytics for all kinds of use cases, some of which I'll go into more detail a bit later. To help set the stage for what we were looking for in our next evolution, I thought it might help to share some of the scale and impacts of our enterprise data platform that were the baseline for any evolution. First, our enterprise data platform is made up of more than a dozen data warehouses, a Hadoop-based data lake, and a very large number of data marts. These process and serve data for just about every function within the company, including engineering, manufacturing, supply chain, finance, human resources, and aftermarket services, to name just a few. As to be expected, these are systems where 24/7 reliability and high data reliability have been standard for quite some time. Further, like lots of companies, we have global laws to comply with that drives complexity into any solution in this space. Another way to understand the scale of our enterprise data platform is to look at the amount of data processed. The data warehouses alone process tens of exabytes of data per year, running at jobs that range from extract, load, transform processing to serving that data through to applications, dashboards, and direct to data analysts, for example. Some of that data is used several thousand times per day, and some of it is used rarely. And given the business we're in, we also have very long retention periods of this data, typically on the order of decades for some scenarios. As mentioned before, these systems serve every employee and many external stakeholders. The data warehouses and data lakes alone have a few thousand direct-to-database users, the majority of which are in our engineering, supply chain, finance, and other business functions, and not in our centralized IT department. After that, nearly 2/3 of employees, about 100,000 users, consume data through the various dashboards, reports, visualizations, and data products served directly from the enterprise data platform. Once we extend the impact to reverse ETL jobs, we see the enterprise data platform serving every employee and many external stakeholders of the company. And then a final way to understand the impact of the baseline enterprise data platform is to look at the direct financial impacts of the company. While I won't get into those numbers here, suffice it to say that it is significant. With all of that, new opportunities are challenging what we were doing. In particular, the demand for supporting machine learning and AI workloads is increasing rapidly. When we looked out into the near future, we were facing significant growth of sensor data from all facets, from engineering to manufacturing operations, all the way out to our products. New business opportunities were being presented where we needed a digital twin of our products throughout their entire life cycle. And then finally, but not least, as Boeing continues to innovate, there were new business opportunities that were putting new pressures on our platform to be more responsive and agile. A few years back, a group of stakeholders from across the business gathered to set the stage for Boeing's second century. I was on the team focused on developing the objectives for the evolution of our data and AI platform. Through a series of interviews and workshops, we landed on the following 4 big areas for objectives for our evolution: digital twins, AI, driving down unit cost, and exceeding all compliance and security requirements. I'll dig a little deeper on each. Digital twins and digital threads. The objective here is to provide the company a single authoritative source of data covering the entire product lifecycle for any data analytics and AI use case. That authoritative source of data also needed to have fine-grained security to be able to address our growing global user needs. Also, we were seeing more and more opportunities that required integration of external to the company data sources, like weather and radar feeds, with internal to the company data. One of the bigger drivers was the objective of evolving our enterprise data platform to being a true data and AI platform. Generally, I believe AI and ML will be embedded in many, if not all, solutions. And as the technology matures and becomes easier to use, we are looking to help everyone that wanted to use machine learning to do so. Already, machine learning was being used in many of our functions, but we were seeing more demand driven by increasing business opportunities within every sector of our business, from manufacturing and the industrial Internet of Things use cases through to computer vision-based solutions, and a large and growing number of predictive analytics opportunities. And we needed to do all of this while driving a step change in our operational cost per unit work. We look to do this primarily by drastically simplifying our platform by moving to a data foundation that would service most, if not all, of my users' workload needs. We set the path for this objective to be solved by both technical simplification and data duplication reduction or even elimination. Finally, but far from least, we needed solutions that would meet or exceed our compliance and security requirements. We knew these requirements would continue to change both externally and through our global growth. In addition, we needed to transition to a data SecOps approach that would empower teams and enable security throughout the entire data product development lifecycle and software supply chain. And we knew we had to do all of this while making data access as simple as possible within those security and compliance requirements. These are quite ambitious objectives we set out for ourselves. They are challenging both technically and from a change management perspective. And like in all good journeys of this magnitude, it is best to go at it surrounded by partners that can share in your goals and where everyone involved achieves their objectives along the way. So finally, to the Google Cloud part of the story and why we are here today. We have built a strong relationship with Google Cloud along this journey. I feel Google has been there with us, helping us achieve many of the objectives we set out. And I believe we have helped Google with new and demanding scenarios that then can go on to help companies, industries, and individuals across the globe. I want to highlight some benefits that I have seen in our relationship with Google. First, the Google team has really gotten to know many facets of our business. This is a big deal, as aerospace is a rather complex arena, and being able to work with a company that could speak our language has been key. And with that, and Google's background in using data, they have been able to help us map our opportunities back to scalable and impactful technology-based and data-driven solutions. Second, Google leaned in to help with early wins as a way to better understand our needs and requirements. Key use cases were selected to test against the objectives, early proofs of concepts were conducted against some of our hardest problems. That then provided us and Google engineering and product teams key feedback as to particulars of our needs. Google's engineering and product teams have provided many improvements into their products that were specific to our demanding requirements, and that continues today. In terms of step changes in unit costs, as we continue our adoption of migration, we are seeing the benefits of simplifying to a few key data technologies like BigQuery and Google Cloud. Further, many work processes that were relying on central teams and manual processes have been automated and driven into our data DevOps teams, which is increasing our agility and ability to respond. This was no small feat, as the automation of these processes required understanding detailed requirements that were distributed across multiple existing teams, as well as helping our teams understand modern data product development processes. We continue to work with Google to improve in this area. Finally, many of Boeing requirements are driven out of our compliance requirements. We deal with some of the same things of just about every company, like the growing requirements around the handling and use of personally identifiable information, and things that maybe not every company has to deal with, like data that has export and geographic sovereignty requirements, just to name some examples. We have been working closely with Google on the assured workloads so that we can provide our users a common data and AI cloud experience no matter the export control needs. This has been beneficial as we can place data and workloads into the proper shared workload regime, and by and large, the user or developer experience is the same. Further, the fine-grained security enabled by identity and access management, BigQuery fine-grained access controls, and authorized views has enabled us to simplify data access while maintaining governance and security. Okay, well, no presentation at Next is complete without talking a little about technology. I've mentioned it briefly earlier, but want to go a little deeper into one of the hubs of Boeing's data cloud, BigQuery. BigQuery's serverless architecture has been a big unlock for us by letting us put more and more power into the hands of developers and data analysts while still achieving our service level objectives and cost goals. It took us a while to understand what a truly serverless cloud data warehouse could enable, and so far, so good. A few areas where I'm seeing BigQuery enable our business. Data can now be shared with data teams and data product teams throughout the company without duplication. The decoupling of processing and storage is changing the way we manage data and is really driving us to new ways to serve data to enterprise users. We have grown to appreciate and use many, if not all, the security knobs of BigQuery. The fine-grained security is enabling us to more easily serve data to our global users while giving us confidence in protecting and governing the data. As we've grown in our use and understanding of BigQuery, we're starting to transition to more and more scenarios where we treat data as a product, being measured on common product performance indicators like adoption and user satisfaction. Combined with our data catalog, we are creating an efficient marketplace of producers and consumers of data. This is something we didn't anticipate when we started, and early use cases that are taking this approach enabled by BigQuery are reporting back positive results. We are now taking this a step further and experimenting with how BigQuery will play a pivotal role in our adoption of a data mesh approach. Stay tuned. Finally, the embedded machine learning capabilities were something I knew teams had used, but I had no idea that it would be at this level. These are really powerful algorithms presented in the SQR SQL language to developers. I already have several teams, primarily those working with Sense data as product engineering and operations, using machine learning to gain new and impactful insights from our data assets. BigQuery has made scaling that relatively simple, and we anticipate growing adoption of BigQuery ML into more and more use cases. Tying this all back to our objectives of enabling a digital twin and digital thread, embracing AI and ML, reducing unit operating costs to decrease complexity, all while exceeding compliance and security requirements. We see a direct line between those objectives and how we can and are realizing them using BigQuery. Well, that's really it for me today. Again, thank you to all the teams at Boeing making this a possibility. And thank you to Angela and the Google Next team for this opportunity to share a slice of Boeing's data cloud journey.
Thank you so much, Hank. And thank you very much to our viewers today for tuning in to this session and the rest of the sessions at Google Cloud Next.